This is Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on All-Time Favorites, AM 650.
I got the eye of the tiger, fire, dancing through the fire, 'cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar louder, louder than a lion.
Welcome back to the Best of Food and Wine. I'm Tony Gismondi.
I'm Casey Wilson.
Really excited to have George Samios with us. George, welcome back.
Thank you.
George, the fine wine director for Blass Wines in Australia, here serving your wines this week. But good to be back in Vancouver.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
this show. Look forward to it every year.
Nice looking room. Not every wine show's in a room like this.
No, it's a fantastic venue, and the view out of the windows
Yeah.
here is superb.
What about those French guys? Is it okay? Or
Yeah, we don't go their side. They don't come our side, and it's a good arrangement. It's a bit like those Kiwis. I know you had Bill Spence. We stay well away from those guys as well. Yeah.
The last time we saw you, we were in Montreal.
We were.
For that
We're in a
fantastic-
one-bedroom apartment together. It was fantastic.
We were.
we had a yeah.
I can't wait for the next sentence.
We had a lot of fun at the Master Blend classification, and I had a lot of fun reading the results at the end.
Yes.
Were you happy with the results?
Look, it was a great competition. The second year.
Tell our listeners what the competition was about.
Yeah, Casey. It was 2 years ago we came up with the concept of benchmarking Cabernet blends.
Yeah.
Because in Australia we've certainly got a reputation for Shiraz. We think we make some damn good Cabernets. Shiraz Cabernet is the classic Australian blend, but we think Cabernet blends has got a lot of promise. So we organised the tasting of 30 of the world's leading Cabernet blends, of course headlined by Bordeaux. And we held it in 3 cities, which we did again this year. We had it in Montreal. Obviously, you guys were part of that. We had it in Melbourne, and we also had one in London. So 36 judges tasted 30 wines blind, the same wines around the world.
That's a lot of weird people.
There were some really weird people.
Yeah, including the guy who tasted his bare feet.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all weird. We're all weird.
No, but I'll tell you what was the most interesting thing, again, was the diversity and the discussion around from the UK versus Australia versus Canada.
Yeah.
Things like cork versus screw cap, of course.
Yeah.
Brettanomyces in the wines, of course.
Oak,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course, Anthony, you wrote a great piece about it. So
Yeah.
great tasting. And, you know, we were really pumped when we came equal second. And it wasn't a competition, but it's as much for our winemaking team also to have a look
Yeah.
at what they're doing.
Yes,
It's like gathering intelligence or
Right.
feedback in a blind tasting environment. It's fantastic.
Yeah, great competition. We're doing it again next year, and we're thinking about doing it here, actually, in Vancouver.
Really?
Wow. Did you taste differently in those countries? Like you were involved in all the tastings. No?
I was. My scores weren't used, but I tried all the wines, and I've got to say half the wines looked different every time. I put it down either to bottle variation,
Or
especially the ones under cork,
Yeah.
and temperature of the room.
yeah, temperature of the room.
And
It was cold in Montreal.
It was very cold in Montreal, and
Yeah.
a few of the wines I think looked a bit closed for it.
Yeah.
And I think you even made the point on the time that we probably needed to, and we will next year, open the wines a little bit earlier to make them fair. And I think in Australia we're in a room that had bright sunlight on the outside. The wines probably looked bigger, all of them.
And we went out for dinner, and while we were having dinner, thousands of dollars of wines were stolen from the car.
Yeah, I
Did
know.
they ever find the dudes that did that?
Yeah, Anthony Gismondi.
I was not
the
involved
seller.
in that theft, but somebody knew what was going on.
Something
though. I
that was
thought
an
it was
inside
great.
job. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's talk about something we do have control over.
Wolf Blass, how many
yeah.
years has Wolf Blass been coming to Vancouver?
Oh boy, I would say over 40, maybe.
Well, Yellow Label celebrated its 30th year last year. We think he probably was bringing wines in a couple of years earlier. Wolf Blass, I think, has been in this festival every year.
Oh yeah, forever.
A very important market for us, Canada, and the man himself, as you guys know, loves coming here.
Yes.
Loves it.
Okay, we're back to the Wolf Blass Gold Label Chardonnay. Adelaide Hills, so you say it's cool. Why is it cool? Isn't it hot in Australia?
It is hot, but of course it's in the southern part of South Australia, and it's got altitude. So, you know, that's what we utilise now, is either southern aspect or altitude. And, it doesn't mean we can't grow reds in Adelaide Hills. We do, but I think some of our better Chardonnays and sparklings are coming from there. And, you know, as I said, I think Chardonnay is a variety that we're getting a lot better at, and we will be very good at it.
Yeah, delicious wine under screw cap as well.
Of course, almost about 95% of Australia's wine now is under screw cap. It's very hard to find one that's not screw cap.
What do you think? There's some people going back to cork, saying that there's better cork now, but what's the thinking in Australia? Like, you wouldn't go back to cork, would you?
No, we've talked about it. We've talked about it for countries like China, where they're still wanting cork because of the tradition.
Yep.
We're holding on why we went to screw cap, and that's quality, the preservation of the wine. The concept of getting better corks, yes, but there's still going to be a failure rate. And if the cellar is not good, the oxidation rate from a cork is far too high for us to be comfortable.
Yeah.
So for us, it'll be screw cap. And walking around the room today, there's a lot of non-Australian producers, including your own local industry, that's really embraced screw cap.
But not the French.
No, but there's a few there.
There are a few. You'd be surprised. There's a couple of Sancerre producers here with screw cap, which is quite amazing.
But
to
they
me.
say that they're doing it for the market, but not in France.
Yeah,
They're still using
whatever.
I think when the first one does it, of reputable status, the others will follow pretty
Changes
quickly.
the way it
Yes.
thinks. Yeah.
Look, and I think each to their own. I think, we certainly haven't seen sales being affected by screw cap. If anything, it's helped them.
Well, we love this style, the Wolf Blass Gold Label. Now, this is the 2012 vintage Adelaide Hills, and it sells for $23. I mean, it's a fantastic price in Canada.
It is a fantastic price in Canada. It's exactly the same as it is in Australia.
You cannot buy a wine like this out of the U.S. today at that price level, at that quality. It's quite amazing.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we moved to Shiraz as well. You brought the platinum label, the silver. Do you say the silver, or sometimes I get confused about
Platinum.
Yeah.
So platinum.
Platinum's better,
Platinum is not silver, of
platinum,
course.
Worth more.
Yeah, it is worth more, Casey. You and I have got a bit of class. That's right. This is our flagship Shiraz. So this is the 2008 that we're pouring here at the festival.
People talk a lot about age and old vines when they talk about Shiraz. What can we say about this site?
This vineyard is 120 years old as an apple orchard, and 40 years old as a vineyard.
And what do you think is old for when you talk about old vineyards?
Well, it's interesting. In the Barossa Valley, Michael Hill Smith and the Barossa Vignerons have come up with a collaborative marketing self-regulation that if a vine is 100 years old, you may call it a centenarian and put that on your label.
Oh, wow.
If it's 60 years or older, you can call it an ancient. And then if it's 30 or more, it's an old vine. So that's brilliant. So now the consumer in Australia
that's great.
Understands it.
So for us, there's some.
And it's fair.
It is fair.
It is fair. That's right. It's the age of the vine at the end of the day. So this is a relatively young wine in the scheme of things, but it's extremely unique. It's on the valley floor. It's near Dorian, and it's a very distinctive Shiraz that we get from there.
How would you describe Barossa? We have many different Shiraz and Syrah on the market, but if I was to say to somebody, well, you should be trying Barossa Shiraz, what does that bring to mind to you?
Well, firstly, it's the heartland of our industry. It's where most of the pioneers, the Penfolds of the world started.
Yeah.
I think the style is it's sort of masculine. It's got flavour from the valley floor, but then you've got Eden Valley, which is of course part of the Barossa, where people like Henschke and Yalumba are probably a little bit more refinement, a little bit more elegance. So it's a good combination for both. And we've got some sites, including this one, which, although it's a relatively warm area, actually are quite cool. And so you can get some nice fine tannins, as you see in that wine. That's now four-year-old wine. It's been in bottle for a couple of years. It's looking beautiful.
What is the alcohol in this?
Without looking at the back label, it's probably about 13, probably 14 and a half. And alcohol's always a question. We prefer not to put the number on because I think it's down to the taste rather than the number. We pick for ripeness and for flavour, not for a number value. And the world's getting warmer.
Yeah.
So you're going to see alcohol levels probably rise everywhere.
This wine's in French oak, though.
French oak,
so
100%.
Quite different than a lot of people associate American oak with Shiraz, but
yep. And
that's a change, I guess.
It's a modern change. That's right, Tony. I think Wolf Blass made his name. He used to have a saying, "No wood, no good." And so he used to use a lot of American oak, but now we're 100% French oak. We just find that it provides better structure and doesn't overtake the fruit as much.
We should mention Wolf. How is he?
He's $1 million. I spoke to him yesterday.
He's $1 million. I like that.
Well, there's actually probably a lot more than $1 million, but no, he's going well. He turns 80 this year.
Wow.
Big party?
We've got several big parties, including one over here in Canada. We've enlisted a very famous artist in Australia called David Bromley to do a portrait of Wolf.
Wow.
Which will go on to the outer shippers of all of our luxury wines for the year. It's also been entered into the biggest art competition in Australia. We've got some commemorative wines. We're bringing back his old favourite brown label, the classic Shiraz, to celebrate his birthday.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's a big year, and then we think he'll sort of continue on as he does as an ambassador. And, you know, you guys have met him. He's brilliant. He's just a ripping bloke.
If you had to describe him as you would describe a wine.
Wolf.
Yes, like name a wine, a varietal that would describe his personality. He's so...
I think he's a Shiraz. I think he's up front. I think he's got plenty of personality, but then underneath it there's the soft side and the smooth side of him and almost the insecure side sometimes. But what we see is the brashness of him.
Yes.
So he's a Shiraz.
Yeah.
Shiraz, excellent.
And you are?
And I am.
I'm just kidding. You don't have to answer that.
That's a good question.
I'll let you decide that one.
I don't know. I would say champagne.
Champagne, thank you,
'cause
Casey.
you're, bubbly and
flat. Thank you.
George Samios. He's the fine wine director for Wolf Blass. George, thanks for joining us. The Platinum Label Shiraz 2008, available in British Columbia, $99.99 for one of the flagship wines. Two great selections, and it seems to me that Wolf Blass is in great hands.
Thank you. Thanks for the time, guys.
Enjoy your time in Vancouver.
I will.
See you in the bar.
Yes.
You're listening to the Best of Food and Wine. It's 8 o'clock. We're going to be around for another hour with a lot more guests. Coming up, Sandra Oldfield joins us from Tin Horn Creek. She has, I don't know where she's come from, shopping probably, buying shoes or whatever.
No, she's been autographing bottles.
Autographing bottles, that's it. We'll take a quick break and be right back on the other side of 8 o'clock.